So I wanted to do a very quick video because I know there's early voting going on and we're setting records in Georgia for early voting. So I wanted to encourage everyone who is interested in being the best voter that they can be to be very honest about how we often vote. Um, I'm bringing this up because we have the power to vote in the judges that are in a lot of these criminal cases where people are sitting in jail for long periods of time without going to trial, without being indicted sometimes. And so this is our responsibility. I just did a video about I just did an article, about how you can be informed as a voter and how important it is that you know who the hell you're voting for, because without that knowledge, we are allowing people to do whatever they want to when they get in these roles. One of the first things that came out when I did one of my interviews is how people aren't even promoting what their positions are anymore. People are just putting their name out there and hoping that, oh, when you see the name on the ballot, you're just going to vote for it because you remember the name. And that's what we do a lot of times. It's not a it's not important enough sometimes for us to be informed about who we're voting for. And I know this is a huge issue because I did it myself. I literally went in the booth and saw the name of the man who is now my son's judge. And I remember hesitating and pausing over this man's name, thinking, how do I know he's a fair judge? And I saw the D beside his name, and so I said I'm just gonna vote for him because at that time I was independent, but I usually voted Democrat, and so I voted for the person who is basically not upholding the standards of his job. And that's what we have to remember about the courts and the DA and the police and all of those different positions. There's no quality control for those positions. Nobody is on the phone evaluating it and sending it up to people so that somebody can be fired for not giving you great customer service, or somebody can be replaced if they're not upholding the role and the standards of the job. Most of us, if we have any type of decent job, there's quality control. There's secret shoppers. There are people who are checking us and making sure that we're upholding the standards of the company. The only people who can do that in situations with police and DAs and judges is us. We are the only ones who can be the quality control for these people. And so if we're not doing that, we're not going to get the results we're supposed to get. And I'm saying this as somebody who was a lazy voter. I thought I'm informed. I know what the hell is going on, but that's how we trick ourselves. Because I literally have voted for people that I had no idea what their record was. And I know a lot of people have done it because these people keep getting voted in over and over again. So I know a lot of people have done it. And so I'm challenging everyone to just take a moment before you go vote, pull up the ballot, see who's going to be on there. When it comes to these judges, I'm going to be real with you. When it comes to the judges, they're running unopposed. We're not prepared to check them in that way, to call them out by having someone vote run against them so we can vote for someone who's going to be fair. That's how you know it's really at a level, it's at a crisis level. How can all these judges be running unopposed when we got people sitting in there for 2, 3, 4 years? You cannot have a situation like that unless you have the judge, the DA, and the police, all the prosecutor's office, all working together to create that. That's not just one person responsible for that. Those are all people working together to make sure they are holding people in there for that lengthy period of time. There's a wonderful interview that the head of the Fulton County Commission did about this issue when he talked about the dangerous conditions in the jail. He talked about it. He called them out. He called them out. And so I am saying I'm not in a place where I can judge anybody because I was lazily voting. Because I lazy voted, now I have a lazy person or someone who is ill fitted for their role in a position of power over my son. Laziness begets laziness. If we're lazy with how we vote, we're going to get people who are lazy about how they do their job. And with all this information out here, you have to work for it. They're not offering it to you. They're not handing it over easily. You have to work to know who these people are. You have to. And so I challenge everyone to take a look at the roles and the positions of these people and see if you agree with their positions. And if you don't have any idea what their positions are, that should tell you something. That should be your first clue. There is a post three seat that is being run for in Atlanta. A lot of people trying to get this position. I looked up the record for a lot of these people who are running, and they are pro cop city. They're pro police. They're not openly telling you that, but they are. If you look deep in their record, they are. If you do not support Cop City, or if you believe that we should vote on Cop City instead of having it pushed on us, you need to know who those people are and who is representing what you believe in. One of the people who's running actually is responsible for the law that's keeping people in jail when they, back in the day, they would have been released on a signature bond. Now they have to pay to get out. And they pushed the law like they were trying to hold judges accountable for letting dangerous people go. But really, it was a money grab to have people get arrested at traffic stops and have to pay a actual monetary bond to get out. So this is real. They playing in our face because they know we have been lazy. We've been lazy. And we want a better government. That's why we go out and vote. And so we can't look at it as I voted, I did all I was supposed to do. No, you got to check these people. But first of all, you got to know who the hell you're voting for. If you don't know that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You got to know who you're voting for. And then if they're running unopposed, you got to make sure you go down there and check the people. Check them, especially these judges. You can go down there and sit in the courtroom, observe how this judge treats people, observe how they talk to people. And this is what you want to do if you really want to know what's going on with the courts. Come back to court. Come back to court and stay until they talk to the last person in the courtroom and see what really goes down in that courtroom. See what really happens when the judge feels like nobody else is here. Now let's get to the last person in the courtroom. That's going to be a really important thing for you to see. You could also log on at Fulton County Superior Court. The judges are supposed to be televising their court proceedings. If you log on and you don't see a judge televising his proceedings, that is another clue. That's somebody that you want to go down here and look at how they're doing their job. There's so many different ways for us to check these people. There's so many different ways for us to be the quality control that needs to be in place, but we have to make the time and the effort to do it. Otherwise, we're saying it doesn't matter what kind of job you do. You do a bad job in my name, I'm okay with it because guess what? I just voted. They're using your consent to do the things that they're doing, and your consent is voting and then not paying attention to what happens afterwards. And I'm saying that as somebody who literally voted for the person who could care less about doing your job. And I'm not sure if this is just human nature, because a lot of times we can get into a job where we know how to do it, we're not good at it, but we're making money from it, and it's giving us a certain lifestyle, and so we don't worry about it. We can't be forced to do the right thing in those situations. We'll basically have to fire ourselves. And especially in a situation like this, where you just get used to being in that role, you get used to that power, you get used to that money, and nobody's checking you. It's a real thing. It's human nature. It's human nature. Like the hairdresser that can't do her own hair, or the person, the painter who refuses to paint his own house. Like, we gotta clean up our house first. And I'm talking about myself more than I'm talking about anybody, because I recognize that I have also allowed myself to be lazy when it comes to me and when it comes to mine. And so that ends. That ends. That's one of the gifts that's come from this experience. I get a chance to see the world in a whole new way, a whole new way. And it's a way that's so beneficial to me that I can't go back. Those doors are shut. I can't go back to who and what I was before. And I hope when you all challenge yourself to know what the hell is going on with these candidates, that you also learn that you cannot go back. You can't unsee what you'll be able to see when you really start looking at these people. They are playing in our face, and they're doing it because we've allowed them to do it. That's all, we've allowed it. And so, happy voting. Be informed, be knowledgeable, don't take no shit from nobody. And there is going to be a link in the description of this video for you all to go to the article that I wrote for Canopy Atlanta about how to check out the people, how to get the information about the people, how to pull up the ballot to see who's on there, how to know what the questions on the ballot mean, so these people can stop playing in our face. All right. Bye bye.